Hello everybody. It is another nice day in Texas, which is surprising at this point in May, but it is. So, so I have a question for everybody. What are your thoughts on breastfeeding, especially extended breastfeeding, which is technically sometime after a year continuing to breastfeed? The reason I ask is because many of you have seen I don't know if you can hear the barking going on, but there's a lot of it. A lot of unruly dogs in the neighborhood. Anyway, I don't know if everyone has seen, but there's a little bit of a controversy going on with the new cover of the Time magazine, which has a woman standing there. She obviously looks young. She's 26, and her shirt is low, her breast is out, and there's a small child with his mouth on the breast. It's her 3-year-old son. He's on a stool, and he's breastfeeding, and the caption says, "Are you mom enough?" in regards to the attachment parenting, which involves co-sleeping, where the parents sleep with the child. There's also homeschooling and unschooling, which is where the child learns not through education, but our traditional education, but through experiences and discovering things that they like for themselves. Now, those are just a few of them, but most of the things I can agree with, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can understand that. But breastfeeding a 3-year-old just seems to me like too much. It's kind of weird because if a child is old enough to request your breast, maybe he's a little too old to be drinking from your breast. Yeah. I would never do that myself. But I know I don't know, I think it inhibits a child from learning independence, learning to do things on their own, like eating their own food, sleeping by themselves, going to school, being with other people their age. If a mother, and father keep their child with them, only with them, and do everything for them and stay with them every second and won't even let them sleep by themselves, to me, that keeps them from being independent. It keeps them from learning life skills of independence, doing things for yourself, not expecting someone else to do them for you. Is there any of you out there that participate in extended breastfeeding or attachment parenting and see how much of a huge benefit it is for a child? And I do know that it's a great bonding experience, and I do know that breastfeeding is very good for a baby. I just don't think that it's good for that long. There have been cases where a child has been taken from custody of a parent due to extended breastfeeding. In 1992, a woman had her child taken away from her. Was 3 years old, and she was still breastfeeding. And I'm not sure how they found out exactly, but she was getting sexual arousal and gratification from this, and that's insanely disturbing. And then there was another child that was taken in Illinois. In 2000, he was 5 years old, and the judge said that it was harming his emotional development, and it was the same as like emotional damage, not weaning the 5-year-old. I mean, can you imagine as a child going to school? What did you have for breakfast? I had cereal. What did you have? I had my mom's breast. At school, being able to say that? No. But the kids were returned. I don't know about the one in 1992. They wouldn't let that out because the child's age, but I don't know. I feel like there should be a limit to when you breastfeed and when you wean them off and let them discover food and other kinds of snacks. I don't know. I was not breastfed. I do not have experience with that at all. I have no children, so it's not like I'm speaking as someone who has breastfed my children for 6 months or something. I haven't done any of that. So, I guess I also don't particularly care for breastfeeding out in public. I know a lot of women say, it's their choice if they want to do that, but I don't want to see anybody else. I don't want to see that. If I'm out eating or something and I see a woman blatantly feeding her baby with no cover or anything, I know a lot of women are going to be like, oh, you're terrible for saying that, but I understand that it's natural. If you want to do it in a place where you are covered. You shouldn't necessarily be able to pull out your breast in public to feed a child, no matter how natural it is. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of breastfeeding. I think if you want to do that, that is good. It's good for your baby, good for bonding. Doesn't mean the whole world has to see you do it. Not everything that is natural should be done in public. But anyway, so I would like to know everyone's thoughts on the breastfeeding issue. What do you think about a 3-year-old breastfeeding, or even a 5-year-old like the one in the story? And also, would you do it? Would you do the breastfeeding for that long? Would you do attachment parenting to that sort of extent? Now, just to clarify, the attachment parenting, I think it was Dr. Sears, 1992, the baby book, something like that. He does not think that parents should do strictly by everything, but that they should be creative and develop their own methods for attachment parenting. So, would you do attachment parenting? And if you did, how far would you go with it? I'll put the links to everything that I read down below, and keep the discussion going down below. And if you like the video, feel free to like it and subscribe. I'd love to hear from everybody on this issue.